Oh, good evening. Welcome to Monday night, and it's Airfix and Chill. I hope you're well. Weather's a bit crap out, isn't it? I think we've been battered by storm. Begins with B at the moment, isn't it? Is it Barnum or something like that? I don't know. If you know, put it in the comments box below. Yeah. Anyway, good evening. Not many of us on tonight, but I think it's that time of year. But if you have any comments or questions you want to put to us on the panel, quite simply put QQQ or question at the beginning, and then we can read it through. But I hope everyone is well. Good evening, Zinzan. Good evening, Luke. And good evening, Barry from North Devon Model Society. Right. Luke set the topic tonight. So over to you, mate.
Nicely done, Mark. Nicely done. It was actually a thought that occurred to me earlier or middle of last week, early part of last week, and it was actually I follow Spencer Pollard on Facebook. Spencer Pollard's Kitbox, I think it's called, and he's just finished what he's calling his Christmas build, and it's an ME 109. And he hasn't done any weathering at all. But what he has done is posted it and said, do we consider that a model that's not weathered, firstly, to be finished, and secondly, is it a good model without any weathering? And then I read the comments, and it was quite interesting, the different takes on the whole weathering subject. So I thought it would be a good subject to discuss. I mean, where I sit, I think it's very genre dependent. For example, if you build cars or motorbikes, then really you
show them shine.
Yeah, your goal is to create that shine, that flawless finish. That's what you're going for. That whether you actually achieve it or not is irrelevant almost, but that's the sort of goal of most automotive type modelers. There are people out there that will weather rally cars and and all that stuff, and I get it. But for me, automotive models I prefer them clean.
Yes,
they should be showroom shiny.
Yeah,
that's what I think an automotive model should be. Whereas I think aircraft and armor, to me, if they're not weathered, then they're not finished.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it, and yet other people have a completely different view on things. And so I thought I'd throw it out to the chat and the panel and see what people's thoughts were.
To me, it's horses for courses. Like you say, you mentioned a car. I did one car that I wanted to look used. So instead of painting it gloss, I painted it satin. And it came out exactly the way I wanted it to look. But armor, again, it is sort of horses for courses. If it's put into like a vignette or a diorama and you've got other things around it, yes, it has to look weathered because it needs a reason to be there. But if it's simply on its own, like the kits I've got here, it's on its own, it's on a display shelf, I don't bother weathering them because if you weather something, it just looks out of place. But armor...
Does it though? I mean, I can say from personal experience, unless it comes off the production line, you will never, ever, ever see a clean piece of armor.
Oof.
You won't.
The only thing I've ever done, I did the two Airfix First World War tanks. I really dirtied them down. When I put them next to an aircraft or another car, they looked out of place. So if you're doing something like heavy weathering and it goes into a diorama or vignette, then that's fine. It's got context to it.
But what you're talking about, and this is what the crux of it. So one of my pet hates that often non-armor modelers will say, and I'm not including you in that, Barry, I'm just saying as a generalization, what they will say is armor's easy because if you make a mistake, you can just put mud on it.
Yeah.
And that's actually not the case. That doesn't make it a good model.
Yeah.
The weathering has got to be, firstly, realistic. And it's got to be specific to what you're saying, Barry. It's got to be specific to the environment.
Yes.
So if you look at a Challenger tank, for example, as I say, unless it's come off the production line and hasn't been out yet, as soon as that thing starts its engine, it will have soot stains around the exhaust. It will have ingrained dirt into the paintwork straight away, pretty much. So it doesn't matter how much that armor is clean or cleaned, even as that comment says there, it's not even clean if it's in a parade. It can be cleaned and detailed to its nth degree, but that ingrained dirt will still remain. You can't get it out unless you repaint it. And then as soon as you start the engine to put it in the parade, the soot stains will come back. So it needs to be realistic. But that is one of my pet hates where people will say quite often, armor is easy because if you make a mistake, you just put mud on it. That's not it doesn't work. It doesn't make it a good model.
The weathering and the finishing is much more than that, really. You know, that people say weathering's the key, but I mean, I've got something I'll add into this, just a couple of slides on PowerPoint, which I'm not going to kill you with PowerPoint. There's only 38 slides. There you go. All right, don't worry. So I took a look at a project I did a little while back, which is a post-war jet aircraft, and everybody will know what it is. But one of the things that's really, really key about this is that when you first paint something, what you get is a lovely paint finish. You know, you airbrush it and then and so on, and it comes out really nicely. You know, the paint is even. The differentiation between the colors is fantastic, but it's flat. It's dull. It's uninteresting. It's not. It's not. It doesn't take the eye at all in any way, and it looks like a toy. And this is exactly the same whether you're painting an aeroplane or a car or a tank or anything. If you have a large expanse like we have on this Canberra here, a large expanse of space that you've painted, particularly with an airbrush, it's just really, really dull. So you know, what do you need to do with this? Well, you need to finish it. And the difference between this and the previous one is that what we've done, and I don't want to make this a tutorial because there's lots of people that could do this much better than I, but I will say that what you clue up with is you put some gloss varnish on, you shove some decals on it, you gloss varnish it again, then you put a little bit of blue for grey oil on it and wash it down, and then you can start to remove that wash after it's dried a little bit, and you can arrive at a finish that you want. Now, is it appropriate to weather this to within an inch of its life? Well, it's a post-war jet aircraft, so actually, no, it isn't. These things were kept really clean, and you know they were washed and brushed up and so on. All aircraft were. It's just during the war that they weren't, and that's when you get things like the soot stains on the sides, the fuselages, and all this kind of thing. But this is the sort of look that I would expect to see on an aircraft that had been in service for a while, you know, and you know what we've done with in the difference between this and that, and you can see as I flick between them like this, we've deepened this difference, if you like. We've given the color much more depth and much more approachableness, and there's decals and such like to take our eye off things. But weathering and finishing, my point on this is I'll remove myself from the stage there, and I think someone's got to do something there, but there you go, I'm back again. Don't look too hard. But what you've to do, your challenge is to try and make the thing look real in small scale by using those. You could call it weathering, but it's finishing. I think that's the key point here.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
That's the way I look at these sort of things. And as you do it with aircraft, so can you with tanks, and so can you with cars.
With any model you could do it.
Yeah. With cars particularly, and finishing, thy name is subtlety.
Yeah, because one thing I tend to do is panel an aircraft with satin and gloss and matte varnish. Just a panel here, a panel there. It just makes the thing, I don't know, look right. I can't think of any other expression to use. Just panel it.
Yeah, it's about looking at giving something to attract the eye, and with a camouflaged aircraft like the camo I did on that Canberra, there's lots to attract the eye. You can look at this, and then you can look at that, and you can look at the other thing, and even if you do for example, the real challenge comes with something like an SR-71. How do you make that particularly when it's in 1/48 scale, because it's big, it's bigger than the one that got away. Let's put it like that. How do you make that look not like a toy? Well, that's partly in the finishing, and it's partly in the way that you put the paint down and the way that you color the panels and color the different areas of the aircraft in a slightly different way. So again, as the eye runs over it, you've got different things to see, and it's not just the same thing. Because one of the things is, even if like me, you're just moderately skillful with an airbrush, you can get some really bloody spectacularly smooth results, and you can get that paint down in such a way that it's really difficult to distinguish different parts of it. And this is where things like pre-shading come in, if you want to do that, or post-shading if you want to do that. This is where an awful lot of the model maker's skill really comes into its own. Making the thing nicely and removing the seams is one thing, but actually finishing it so that you've got something that really attracts the eye is another. And what places the championship modeler, if you like, if we let them call them that, this fellow here, the championship modeler, what place in his league, and me in mine. Well, he's been doing it longer for one thing, but he's got really good at that kind of thing. Luke, you're the same, and there you go.
I'm gonna just poke the bear's ear. It's pre-shading, weathering. Or is shading, post-shading, pre-shading. Is that part of weathering, or is weathering a totally different subject matter? Because for me, to do that SR, the one that you're on about, sorry,
SR-71, the Blackbird.
SR-71, for me, that would be a pre-shading paradise. You would pre-shade every panel, to get it to have a little bit of depth to it, and then you would spray it up, put a satin finish on it, put the decals on, satin it up again, and then say ta-da. Because I wouldn't particularly feel that weathering would give anything to that than what the pre-shading's already done, or even the post-shading to get those panels looking good. Is that not acceptable?
No, it's what you've said is perfectly acceptable. I think that's absolutely right. They're all related. All of these things are related one to the other, because it's about how you achieve the finished result. And for example, on the SR-71, the panel join lines on the actual aircraft are much lighter in color than the rest of the surface. And that happens as a result of the aircraft flying through the air, as I understand these things. And you can't easily achieve that with airbrushing. So the way I dealt with it was by means of a grey pastel pencil after all the work had been done. And you draw them in and then brush them out until you've got them to a level. That's weathering, effectively, but it's finishing. And it's the same thing. Otherwise, you end up with this black mass. It doesn't work, It
doesn't work. No.
I think in some videos on the SR-71 I've seen, the post shading that people have done is magnificent in the sense that it's extremely subtle, but it for me it doesn't work because you haven't captured the essence of the real aircraft.
Okay. So I was just reading that comment there that somebody just put up saying, was it? So I just lost it again now. Pre and post shading must be weathering, as the effect is to make the subject look not brand new. No, I don't think that's necessarily true.
I would consider pre or post shading a form of weathering. Yeah.
A form of weathering.
Yeah. Because what you're trying to create or what you're trying to achieve, for the most part, is some sort of fading to the paint. That's
trying to gain depth. It's the depth, isn't it?
But depth comes from not a flat monotone finish. So by using pre or post shading, you achieve that effect, don't you? So therefore, you could achieve a similar effect by painting the whole thing without pre-shading or post-shading, for example, and then either as Barry does, using different clears,
varnishes,
panels, or using oils to fade particular panels or parts of panels. You could achieve the same thing or very, very similar. So it is part of the weathering process.
Yeah. Okay. But to me, weathering is, for me, weathering, I look at it as something that's weathered, as in the sun and, and things that are outside of the finish, for me, is weathering. You're adding something, whether it's gashes, whether it's chipping effects, etc. Things that outside of its, the finish, what's happened when it's finished, the finished product, what then happens to it, whether it's sunlight, hail, rain, few, scuffs, and where people have walked on it and stuff. That to me is weathered. Used and abused, outside influences giving it its look. Whereas trying to show the panel lines up, for me, that isn't weathering. That's more of a wash, and just a way of enhancing the detail that's already there. You're not adding mud to it or nothing. You're just adding adding things to make the detail more pronounced and to make it look not like a bloody toy. You know what I mean? That's it. But
anything we do to enhance the visual interest of a particular model is not. So if you, for example, looked at a real aircraft from 32 feet away, if you're talking about 32nd scale aircraft, would you actually see at that distance every individual rivet?
No, that is the thing, isn't it? It's like somebody.
And yet, as modelers, we accentuate that detail, don't we, to give it the visual interest. It's like those Spitfires that you see built will be flat finished, won't they?
Yeah.
Well, if you actually look at a Spitfire, it's not flat.
No.
It's not a flat finish. But if we built a 72nd scale Spitfire and clear coated it with a gloss, it'd look fucking awful.
It would, and that's it. And that is that. We're going back to the foundations. It's like I remember Modelling Weekly, bless him. I don't hear much of him these days because he wants to go in the RAF, so he's doing a degree and things like that. So we don't see much of him. But I think he calculated, if you took the measurement of a panel line on a particular plane, it would basically you put your fist through it if you blew it up. But we add these things to help give you. I think at the end of the day, the beauty in a finished scale model is what pinches at the eyes, isn't it? What really grabs your attention. And I remember seeing one one model, and the model was all right. There was a lot of seam lines, and he didn't finish right. But what caught my attention was the way that he had painted muddy boots up the wing of this. I think it was a Fokker Wolf, actually, 190, and I was more interested, and I actually I had to look at it twice. And I thought, well, how did you do that? Oh, I got this stencil that I just dabbed in, and it wasn't even paint. It was actually mixed up brown and PVA glue and a little bit of, I think it's like some silicon dust, he said, just to give it the effect. It's a mud print. It doesn't have to look good either. But that was visual to me, and I think even until everything else seemed nothing. I looked at it. It wasn't until after I looked at the pictures and saw that he didn't do the scenes as well as he could have. But that was the focal point, was that he was trying to prove that this thing had landed, and that they were about to take on. The pilot had jumped on in a muddy field, and that's where the diorama was kind of based. Like, it was pretty good, but. As I said, I think you're right. I think it's all about the finish, in the sense of, putting a flat color down. It doesn't look right. I could say like this one here. I did this using the Humbrol, but that's been black based in white and and pre-shaded black and white, and then I put the color over. But you can see tonal variation. I don't think you would do that. It would look wrong if it hadn't had that variation underneath its color. Difficult, isn't it? But
it's an interesting subject. I mean, if you look at people that can do weathering well, so there was a comment in the chat that it doesn't matter what you do to a model, you'll never replicate real weathering. I fundamentally disagree with that, because if you do it well, you can replicate real weather effects, and there are people out there that do it and do it very, very well. Martin Kovac is one that comes to mind. Plasmo is one that comes to mind. If it's done well, there's a massive difference between just putting mud effects on a tank and calling it weathered and done than there is in actually really weathering a vehicle. There's a massive difference and a massive scope in between of people that can do it well, people that can't do it so well. And if someone's just slapped mud on something, you can tell they've just slapped mud on something. Rust effects are another one where some people can do it very, very well. And other people, you look at the model and you would say, well, all they've done is use this set by ammo. That's what they've done. They haven't managed to achieve that replication of real rust. So there's such a vast. You can either do it well or you can't, or you're going to die trying. There's such a vast. But I mean, the thing that comes to mind is people that can do heat staining on motorbike exhausts. And do it convincingly. That's a skill all by itself.
That's Kim, that is. If you see Kim and his flankers.
Spend months and months and months on the exhaust to achieve that rainbow burnt look on a stainless steel exhaust can. And to be able to do that and do it well is a skill all by itself. It really is. So I disagree that you can't replicate real life weathering. You absolutely can, if you're good at it.
I was just going to say, you've seen Kim and his flankers at Devon at Exodian Scale Model Society, Scale Model Society. He gets his flankers. He gets that burnt look, and he uses this stuff because he showed me what he does is the 8K Extreme Metals. That blue and that purple, and if you get it right, it's got you can't you can't bugger about. You've got to be really delicate and build up the layers. Or hail flanker Kim, exactly. He gets absolutely spot on every time. I personally you know. And I've seen bikes like it as well, you know, and where they've done that, and it's there is an art to it, but
Massive.
and I think also is that when it comes to weathering, once you start weathering, your first results will look pretty crap, but as you develop and see how things work, you will develop your own skill in the weathering as well, how far you take it.
And
You
it
know,
can absolutely be overdone.
Yeah.
The skill with weathering, I always say, is where you think you're going too far, stop.
Yeah.
Because if you start to think that you may be going too far, you've probably already gone too far.
Yeah.
Because less is more when it comes to weathering. Definitely.
No, definitely.
Yeah. And herein lies the advantage of oil that you can just pull off with some odorless thinners.
Start again.
Yeah, well, I just dial it back as you go with a big wide brush. You know, I've got several that I use for this sort of thing. You know, this sort of thing's bloody good for big surfaces, and you can just dab a bit of, you know, odorless thinner on it and just brush it, and away it goes. You know, and you take it back, and there are two things. There's first of all, there's the difference between actively looking and passively seeing. And actively looking allows you to be able to use that second thing, which is the map, you know, in your mind, the mental picture of what that weathering looks like. Now, as you get better at this, and I found this when I was a young lad, my mental picture of what weathering and what other effects look like got better as I went further through it. I refined that ability, and I think everybody does. And if you're not very good at it now, well, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to be not very good at it. It just means that, you know, there's room for you to go further. You know, if you are good at it, well, you could be bloody marvelous at it. Everybody can move that little bit further, and this is one of those things, you know. And this discussion is like that in that it is an endless challenge, it's an endless thing to think about and to continue to try and work on, you know. And sometimes you don't get it right, and you think, no, bollocks, I got that wrong, or words to that effect, you know. And there it is, you know. Sometimes if you've got a channel, your people tell you, you know, they say, you know, look here, sinners, you've asked that up, you wanker, you know, whatever, you know, and bless them for doing so, you know, because actually that's kind of what we do it for some reason, you know, or for some, you know, you know, best people anyway.
Just whacking on this comment here by Robbie, the big one relating to the realistic look, which modelers strive for, is invasion stripes for me. They were splashed on with brooms the night before, and us modelers put pristine stripes on. That's one of the biggest debates going, because firstly, I have, and Nigel, I wish Nigel was on it because he would back me up on this. I do not believe there is any evidence that they used a broom or a mop to put on invasion stripes. Every picture I've ever seen, you've got them there. You know, they didn't just slap them on. There was an actual document that was written 3 months before they decided to do it, and they said that you had to have them at specific lines. They were told to paint them on, and there were proper measurements on putting on these invasion stripes. And every picture I've seen of them invasion stripes, they weren't put on with a brush or with a broom or a mop. They were given the paint, they were given the brushes to do it properly, and they may have done it as a bit of a rush job, but this idea of they were told 10 minutes before they were flying that they had to put these invasion stripes on. There is an actual.
I mean, I think what you have to bear in mind, and my take on this, the whole invasion stripe debate, which rages on year upon year upon year. Anything we build, so if you're building a 30-second scale Spitfire, for example, or a 24 scale Spitfire with invasion stripes, what you have to bear in mind is that that's the equivalent of someone looking at the real 1-to-1 size machine.
Yeah.
From a minimum of 24 feet away.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt in my mind that invasion stripes were not painted on in these pristine straight lines with, you know, a spray gun and all of that. I don't buy into they were whacked on with a brush and a broom 10 minutes before. I don't think that's the case. But I do think they were hand painted for the majority of them.
Yeah.
However, if you look at hand painted stripes that are a specific width and have been done in a specific way from 24 feet away, they're going to look straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's that. Sorry, my compressor.
Yeah.
And I think that's where modelers will attempt to measure and get them as straight as possible. Hold on, let me kill that. And try and replicate that, because what we're looking at, and if you're looking at a 72nd scale aircraft, we're potentially looking at the real thing from 72 feet away. They're going to look straight, and you're not going to see the nuance of brush marks and all that sort of stuff from that distance. And I think that's what modelers are trying to create. That's what I think.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is the document was made early, but in that document they prescribed everything that they had to make sure that the paint and the brushes were available, because you know, they were going to, you know, they were definitely going to fly, and you know they said that they were doing it, and you know, if you look at it and they measured out, and I've seen loads of pictures with a bucket and a brush doing it. Never seen a mop used, apart from there's a modern take on it that people assumed it was like an original, but no, it was done at like an American air base where you had like mops and brooms and all that. But I really think that it's all mythical. They one of the things was, you know, they planned that D-Day down, you know, people say, yeah, but it was all it wasn't a hapdash. They were building, you know, blow up tanks out of canvas to try and, you know, to put all that energy into that. They would have put the energy in to go and find the paint, the black, the white, and make sure that all these people, and they had, I think, Out 92's right. It was 18 and whatever. So, there wasn't a photo op, mates. It wasn't. There was an original one that was done in the like 20s, in 2020 or 2010, between that time, and people saw that picture and they assumed that was an original, but it's not. It was done in America. You know what I mean? It was. But yeah, I've looked at books. I've gone Google imaging. I've done it all, and only because Nigel said, "Oh, I don't think it was mock." So I went and had a look, and I've never seen one at all. And,
everything I've read and everything I've ever seen would lean me towards this theory of people putting it on with mops and brooms is a myth.
Is a myth.
It's a myth.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best way would have been is rollers, but I don't even think the rollers were invented back then, were they?
Who knows, mate?
You know what I mean? You would have used a roller, really.
The air stations and airfields will have had access to brushes and paint and God knows what all. They would have had this, and I think Out 92's talking about OMUs, operational maintenance units, where they use mats and stencils. But the history is very clear on a couple of things here. One is that the Air Ministry prescribed markings on aircraft very, very closely, right from 1938 or something. And they changed 4 or 5 times throughout the Second World War. And all of the markings were different for different aircraft types. So if you had a trainer or a target tug, you know, that sort of thing, they all had different things: day fighters, night fighters, the whole lot. So the other thing to say is that, you know, that air stations and airfield operators and at stations were adept at painting aircraft. They painted the undersides of the Mark I Spitfires that started out being black and white or night and white. They overpainted them with whatever they could find in terms of sky colouring, and they overpainted all the stencils. But they didn't do it in a slapdash, or haphazard way. They did it very carefully. But so it looked from 72 feet for your 172. Yeah. It looked good, and that's how this was worked. The other thing is that the demarcation lines between different colours was sharp, and it was ordained that it was to be sharp, the bods from the ministry, if they wanted it to be haphazard, they would have bloody said so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but as I said, like it's true. You're trying to get a wavy line, and it wasn't a wavy line you had to worry about. It was more of the fact that of the black coming through on the white in between, because they were, if you see a lot of them, you can see where they've painted the black and then gone up with the white. They haven't gone dead on, have they? They've gone over the place. But it is one of those. It's definitely one of them.
They obviously didn't use Humber plastic enamel then, did they?
No, they didn't, mate. No, they didn't. It wouldn't have been. Hey, if they'd used that, it wouldn't even been. It would have come off anyway because it wouldn't have dried in time, would it?
Yeah.
And also, if you actually see pictures of these planes, they are filthy, aren't they? They're not perfectly white either, are they?
I mean that continues in certainly more modern conflicts as well. If an airframe or a particular piece of armor or whatever is operational, then a lot of the time, aside from sort of the essential maintenance, that they do get really dirty and they do get extremely weathered, for want of a better term, because the impetus is absolutely on keeping that airframe or that particular vehicle in service and operational to achieve what it's there to achieve. They're not overly concerned on whether it looks pristine or not.
Yeah,
it's there to do a job. Look at the Apaches in Afghanistan. There's a classic example. They were so beaten up, faded, weathered, chipped, all of that stuff. Yeah. But actually, the mechanics and the crux of the airframe to do what it was there to do was second to none.
Yeah.
So that was the goal of the ground crews, to keep that thing in the air.
It was. Most definitely. Got a question. I thought I'd put it up here, which I thought was quite interesting. Gents, what's your opinion of a black base with a white mottled stencil covering? I like the effect as long as you don't obscure the effect with the final coat. Well, that's what I've been doing this week on this Messerschmitt. That's what I do. I black. I've seen. There's always doing it. I've seen people. They just go down with. They keep the plastic grey and they go down with black lines. But I like this effect here, the pre-shading effect. I've done it on the wing. I've done the wings already, and you can see it gives a little bit of depth, and that's my favourite way of preparing a base for its top coat. But you tell me. Anyone else going to judge on that?
Yeah, I've used the technique myself. I did it on the TSR2, and guess what? It was the first one I ever did, and you have to be really bloody careful because you can obscure that pre-shading really quickly, and you do have to be careful. So, it's I could liken it to riding a razor blade in some sense, because you can fall either side and it's painful, quite frankly. So it's one of those things. Yeah, if you can do it and you can do it well and you're comfortable with it, then keep doing it because it's working for you.
Mm-hmm. I use a hairy stick, so pre-shading from.
Yeah, any aircraft I do, there's several ways, there's several terms for describing it. I use the term black basing. So exactly as Moz has done there, prime it in black generally, and then pick out with squiggles and highlights and stuff in various light greys, whites. Depending on what your top colors be, you can even use things like browns and blues and reds. You can do all sorts. But Zinzan's absolutely right. The trick is, and I probably get it right, maybe, I don't know, 7 times out of 10.
You're doing really well then.
Because the trick is not to overdo your top coat, because as soon as you do that, you lose that effect. It's gone. And another thing that people sometimes don't appreciate, as soon as you put a clear coat on something, it's going to change the way it looks. And it's going to change the saturation of the color, and it's going to change the depth of the color and everything else. So that's something you absolutely should bear in mind. If you're going down the black basing route, you can put your top coat on, it can look brilliant, and you've kept the effect and everything. But as soon as you put that clear on the top, it looks flat.
Yeah.
You lose that effect. But that's when things like oils, post shading, and all that stuff then, it allows you to kind of put that right. But I would always do it with aircraft, because it's better to have it there and risk it being lost than not have it there at all. And then you're never ever going to get that effect, are you? Because it's just not there. So it's worth spending the time, I think, to try and perfect it.
Yeah,
it's all technique. It's all about technique, you know.
And patience. So a lot of it's about patience.
Can I? I tell you what, it's easy with the yellow, because yellow's a hard one to cover anyway. But if you are going to do pre-shade, mix your paint. Sounds daft, but bear with me. 30% paint, 70% thinner, and dust. Go over it, dust. And as soon as you start to see that, you know, you're losing it, then stop. You know, you just keep going over it, and it will come up beautifully. It really will. So, but yeah, it's a good technique to have. I use it a lot on armor as well, believe it or not.
It's a slightly different technique on armor. I don't generally mottle it or. So on armor, for example, you pick out the bigger panels, highlight the center of the panel.
Yeah, highlight the center.
So say on a tank, for example, around the turret, where the turret would create natural shadow onto the hull of the tank, then I would always keep that very, very dark. I wouldn't go in and highlight every single panel, because what will happen is when you put the top coat on it, it will look unnatural, because you're not going to have a faded lighter panel underneath the turret. You're not going to have that. So but again, it's personal preference. You look at some of the Spanish effect, as it's known.
Yes.
Heavily modulated pieces of armor and stuff, and some people like that effect. It's not really my thing for armor. I do it on wargaming stuff a lot. But for armor, 35th scale armor, for example, I wouldn't go down that route. But for some people, they love it.
Yeah. Celtic saying there, personally, the undercoat should match or contrast with the top layers. Don't get stuck with black and white. Yeah,
that's what I was saying about using reds, blues, browns. You know, depending on what your top coat's going to be.
Well, if your top coat's going to be a white, then a grey, a dark grey is a very good place to begin, quite honestly.
Yeah, or even black. Black works really well under white.
Black under chrome, isn't it? You know, if you're going to do a metal, put black first, isn't it? But put a glossy black, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. Panel pre-shading also works best by not using pure 100% black, and don't do a perfect laser straight pattern. The more chaotic is, the better. And that's what I've done with that Messerschmitt. I always try and mix it up a bit. Some are darker, some are lighter, and just have fun with it. That's all I think of it. I just think of it as fun, nothing too drastic. Just where's a little bit, just a panel or something you want to enhance, just do it. And also if you think you've done it too much, just add more layers of paint just to hide it a little bit more. Don't just go left and right, up and down. Just flow with it. That's what I do. Um, I thought camouflage was hard, but weathering is the real challenge. When is your model finished? Yeah, yeah. I think Luke's already said tonight. When you think you've gone too far, then just stop, because you probably will. We'll get there. So get a paint mule, Mr. Craft, then go nuts. Yeah, absolutely. Weathering then. Before we go into what we use for weathering, 'cause I think that'd be a good one to talk about. After there's a competition tonight. Now I've got this one 48 scale Hamden Mark V Mark 1, which is the new release from ICM. I got my original one from Jadlam. I ran up there on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, and spent hundreds of quids up there to get one. And I forgot that I had already pre-ordered this one from Alex Man's Model Shop, and I got a notification to say I had one on its way. So I thought, well, I'm not going to build two. I'm still half and half, whether I'm going to even build one. So I thought I'll give this away. But there is instead of all the emails and messages and everything, I don't want to go down that route. So as you all know, I have a Discord group called Moz 6510 Models. If I go to here, not that one there, put this up. Now this is the QR code on the top of the screen here. Whoops, that way, top of the screen. Scan that or go to the pinned comment, log into Discord, log into it, and you'll come to our Discord, which is the Moz 6510 Scale Model Club. We've got 400 members already, believe it or not. It's really grown quite quickly. And then when you log in, go to the rules section and then click an emoji to make sure you've read the rules. And then all the Discord will be opened up to you, and there's competitions. In the competition, all I want you to do is write the word Hampton, okay? But also put the country you are from, so that when I can then work out the postage on getting it to you, because I will contact you, and then I'll have to set up, because of the taxes and everything. So if you're in America, just let me know, so then I can then decide whether I'm going to just send it UK Royal Mail, or I'm going to contact my friend who does international postage and get it sent via postage. So all you need to do in that competition Discord panel bit, go in there and type the word Hampton and where you live, so that I can decide, and try and work out how much it's going to cost me to send it to you. All right, so that's Discord. So if you want to go over there now and book yourself in, and then we will announce it next week who wins at Hampton, and then next week will be our last one before Christmas, and it'll be a Christmas themed sort of Airfix and chill. All right, so there you go. So there it is up there. So if you want to go and log into that, I've got it open here now. So if you are landing, just make sure you click that, and you'll get in, and just type in Hampton in the comments. All right, and then we'll pick a winner for next week. Right. Going by what we were talking about, is it necessary? I think weathering is necessary on a kit. I think I'm pretty much there, that you've got to do something to that plane to make it not look toy-like. And I think it's necessary, and I think you can't just rely on the detail of the model to make it look realistic. You're going to have to do more to it. But what are your kind of techniques? What are your go-tos when it comes to techniques to make something look more realistic than it is? And if anyone says here that they use foil and glue to do a metal effect, they're going to get the back of my hand. I've tried it twice now in the last 10 years, and I can't do it. I really can't. I haven't got the patience to do every single panel with a bit of metal. Bollocks to that. But there are people who do it really, really well to get a real good sheet metal finish, but not for me. So lay it all out. What's your thoughts? What do you use for when you start weathering planes and trains and tanks and everything else?
Everything.
Everything.
Pretty much. It all depends on the genre, and it will depend on the effect that you're going for, the environment you want to put that vehicle in or show that it's been in. My go-tos really are, what are they? One of my go-tos, probably Ultimate Modeling Products washes, which are clay-based. Ultimate Modeling Products pigments, which essentially they're the pigment that are in their washes, so they replicate the colors. Oil paints is probably my biggest go-to of all different shades and various colors and whatever. And Citadel acrylic washes, they would be my go-tos really.
Okay.
What about you, Barry?
What about you, Barry? What's your techniques for weathering?
Well, general rule of thumb, it depends what the item is. If it's like armor, I start off even before the kit's finished, because all the stuff armor's all 176. So if I'm doing the shell is like one color, then the parts bins is a slightly different shade. Put it all together, thin black wash over the lot. Then it's in with a pencil, doing all the edges. Yeah, a pencil, an everyday pencil, doing all the edges.
That's what you do, isn't it?
HP pencil for panel lines on an aircraft. Work great.
Yeah, I do all the edges with a pencil.
Yeah,
and then we put a bit of rust-colored paint on it.
Yeah.
If it's a First World War tank, mud, and more mud. Some extra mud.
It's funny you mentioned that about World War One tanks, because I've never seen a photo of a World War One tank where it wasn't brown.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's actually saying I looked at a photograph and they're just absolutely plastered in mud.
They said they were camouflaged out of the factory, but when they went into the front line, 2 weeks they're covered in mud. They're just brown.
You could hardly see the camouflage underneath it. And I did the anti-grenade netting. That was fun. That was made out of matchsticks and some lace out of a cloth shop. And mud, more mud. Aircraft, I tend to panel them with varnishes, like satin, gloss, and matte varnishes, just to break it up. When you put the varnishes on, it alters the colour slightly, so it gives it more of a panelled look. Other than that, I like delivery mileage.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. I think with me, if it's smoke effects and things like that, I tend to use powders. I'm not one for using oils, though. I have spent more money on. Is it? How do you say it? Begins with A. Is it Abeltung?
Apalung.
There it is.
Yeah.
I've spent a few quid, and the most amazing. And there's one that I got this year. Is it Starship Filth?
Yeah.
Is that AK or is that Abeltung?
No, that's Apalung.
Yeah. And they were going to discontinue it, and the whole community went up in arms about it, didn't they?
It's everyone's like go-to. Yeah.
Go-to. I've used that. See, you talk about Spencer Pollard. I think he's the king of oil washes, isn't he?
He does a lot with oils, yeah.
Yeah. Do you use a lot of oil at all, Luke?
All the time. All the time. Windsor, in fact, I haven't got it to hand because half the stuff's packed now.
Yeah.
But Windsor and Newton, who do very good quality oil, there you go, in that sort of tube, the white tube, exactly like that. They do a transparent oil. So if you were trying to replicate, I'm trying to think, like panel faded on an aircraft, if you use that transparent oil on that particular panel, it's actually designed to fade color.
Oh,
That's
I see.
that's the effect it will get, and it's phenomenal. It's foolproof. It is absolutely foolproof. As long as you're careful in the application, so you've got it on that particular panel or in that area that you want to fade, it works flawlessly. It's so good. So good. And it works really well. You know, if you're trying to blend decals in, because quite often you'll have the paint effects and stuff, then you'll put the decals on, and they can, quite a lot of the time, they can look a bit out of place, can't they?
Yeah.
Because they look brand new and the rest of the airframe is looking faded and weathered and everything. And then you stick this decal on and it's use that Winsor & Newton transparent oil over the top of the decal.
Yeah.
And it will fade the decal. It's really good stuff.
I'm looking on Amazon now. I'm looking on Amazon now.
It comes in a white tube, exactly like Zinzan.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be able to get it at Hobbycraft, other hobby shops.
That's right. And one tube will last you a lifetime.
Yeah.
I bought mine about, goodness, 6-7 years ago. Probably it was recommended to me. I went and bought some from Hobbycraft, just a tube of that transparent oil. And I use it pretty much on every build I do in one way or another. And it's still like it's brand new, really. It's like it hasn't been used. Because you only need a tiny amount. You don't need to use loads.
Yeah, you're thinning it down a huge amount. Absolutely. And
I use oils all the time, and I've got all of them. I've got the Abtai Lung, I've got the Winsor & Newton, I've got the oil brushes from MIG. You know, where they brought out those oil brusher pens, a bit like makeup type applicators. I've got those. But what I do find really useful, I'll show you, because these aren't packed yet, is these things. So they're essentially made of like a hard wearing silicone. It doesn't degrade with like leveling thinner or anything like that. It's very hard wearing. And you can mix your oil washes, if you're doing oil washes, in those, and it's got a point on it so you can pour them out into a pallet or whatever you want to do. And then you literally stick them in the dishwasher and they're like brand new. They're really good, and you get them off Amazon or wherever. I've had these for years, and they come in packs of 10, these silicone cups, basically. They're brilliant. Really good.
Amateur model making. I'm glad this is the subject tonight. I'm a basic builder. I've been wanting to do weathering, but seeing how good a lot of other builders' weathering is, I'm scared to even attempt to try it. Oh, mate, it's nothing worse than spending hours building a model, painting it up, and then buggering it up with a dodgy weather. Honestly, mate, we all have been there, mate. But it's like losing your virginity.
It's a skill that requires perseverance and patience.
Exactly. Be prepared
and
to
learning the technique. So, like John has said and Barry have said, they use a pencil.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that personally, but it's all what works for you as the modeler.
Yeah.
And you will find what works for you and what doesn't. The benefit of things like oils and clay washes and those sort of products, rather than sort of the enamel and acrylic washes, and I still use those for certain things.
Yeah.
The benefit of oils and clay washes is that if you do make a mistake or it doesn't look right or whatever the issue is, you can just take them off and start again.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's where the patience comes in, because you're not going to get it. I don't know anyone who gets it right first time every time.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that does that.
No, nobody does. Nobody does. And
just be careful when you watch these, YouTubers, and they're showing, a 2-minute snippet of them weathering a tank or an aircraft or whatever, and it looks phenomenal. Yeah, that's the bit they're showing you.
Yeah.
They've probably weathered that vehicle or that aircraft or whatever 10, 12, 14 times before they got to that point.
Yeah.
But that's the piece of footage they're showing you. The only exception I would say to that is, well, watch my channel and watch me fuck it up. But sort of your more prevalent YouTubers, if you look at Martin Kovac, for example, Night Shift as his name, he shows him doing it in real time. But what he's probably spent the last 30 years learning how to weather things. I'm pretty sure that if you looked at some of the first things he weathered, they wouldn't be like they are now. So he's perfected over decades his technique, his products, how he does it, and everything else. One of the best chipping, there's a classic example. Go and watch Martin Kovac's tutorial on chipping. And it comes down to what you want to achieve and how much time you're willing to spend. If you want to use a chipping fluid and a toothbrush at the end of it, you do that. But there are inherent risks by doing that. It can be very overdone very quickly. It's quite easy to make a mistake, and it's quite a difficult mistake to rectify once you've done that. Whereas if you're hand painting chips, you have so much more control, but it's going to take you 8 times as long. So it all comes down to how much time you want to invest and practice. That's all it is.
Most definitely. I will say that I just went for the plunge. I watched Sully, I think it was, do chipping. No, it wasn't Sully. It was LPJ Models. I do get it right. And I was given on one of the Airfix creator days this little bottle of chipping fluid. Never used it. Just saw it there one day. And I did that Ferguson tractor. And I used that particular chipping fluid. I've done rusting effects before using powders, etc. By the way, I'm using the Humbrol ones now, and they are the dog's bollocks. Just letting you know, they're very good. Use this chipping fluid, which I've later found out was VMS chipping fluid anyway, but it's in that Humbrol bottle. And it doesn't spray very well for an airbrush, right? You get it on, but using that effect and then spraying on the grey coat on top and then just chipping away with a brush, dip it in water, chipping it away. Everyone who's seen it said it's such a lovely look to that tractor. It does look great. I've won a model show with it, as a model competition with it as well. So,
what you're basing that on was, how many years have you been modeling?
10 years, 15, 20 years. Yeah.
Although it's the first time you've used chipping fluid, you're also drawing on 2 decades of experience.
Yeah, but I did watch the video first. You know what I mean? I watched the video first.
If someone's fairly new at it, and they haven't yet accumulated that experience in every area of the hobby, in every area of construction, everything else, and then they use chipping fluid for the first time, the chances are it won't go as planned.
No, I get that.
The benefit you've got is you're basing your first use of a product on how it should look. As an accomplished modeler with 2 decades of experience.
Yeah, I get that, because I knew how far to take it. I knew how far to take it and when to stop. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and just be very, very careful. Word of advice: if you're going to use chipping fluid, but use lacquer paint, be very, very careful, because a lot of the time it won't work underneath lacquers. It works great under acrylics, but it doesn't always work under lacquers, because lacquers are a very hard-wearing paint, and a lot of lacquers won't be activated by water.
Yeah, that's very true.
So just be careful. And that goes so Tamiya X and XF, yes, they are acrylics, they're alcohol-based acrylics, but if you add MLT to them to thin them, you've turned them into a lacquer paint.
Yeah.
So just be very careful.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I'm most interested to just expand quickly on this whole idea of beginning to do weatherings, a bit like losing your virginity, in the sense that you you probably do it once finally and are very relieved, and then don't do it again for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, but I mean,
you don't get the opportunity to practice very much.
no, and this whole weathering thing is about practice, and there's
really
a
is.
saying I quite like, which is, you have to be a fool before you can be a master.
Absolutely.
And anybody, and the other thing is to say, don't compare yourself to who somebody else is today. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Exactly.
And I think that's great advice. I think that's great advice, because I got in trouble a couple of years ago, which is nothing new. But I got in trouble because I posted in our group. So it was a private post to members of our club. And it was just after Scale Model Challenge. It was on the Monday or Tuesday of the week following the weekend of Scale Model Challenge. So obviously social media was flooded with photographs of some wonderfully constructed and wonderfully finished models from Scale Model Challenge, because you have to bear in mind that some of the best modelers in the world display their work at Scale Model Challenge. So I put a post in our group saying, don't be intimidated by what you see coming out of Scale Model Challenge. Use it as inspiration. And the only thing, if you're going to do any comparison at all, is compare your current build or your last finished build to the one before.
Yeah.
Is it any better, in your opinion? Is it better than the one you did before? Or is it better than the one you did 10 years ago? And so on and so on. That should only have the only comparison, really, that you should ever take. And like I would say, if you've enjoyed the process, you've done it right. Whether or not it's a competition winner, whether or not, people are looking at it and you're getting all sorts of adulation for what you've done. If you've enjoyed it, you've done it right.
Yeah, definitely enjoy the process. Definitely.
Is Flory Wash any good?
Yes.
Yes.
It's exactly the same as the Ultimate washes that I use. It's clay based.
Is that Ultimate products?
Yeah. So the only difference is with Flory Wash is he now does this stuff, which is again clay based, but it's like a thicker version. So it's still water soluble and all the benefits of a clay based wash. However, it's thicker. So if you were trying to do significant mud effects or significant snow effects on tracks or wheels or chassis or any of that sort of stuff, that's your go-to, because it's thicker. It's got a texture to it. So when it dries, it creates that mud effect. And then you can go in, if you choose to, as I do, and then you paint it. So you don't have to necessarily stick with the color of the wash, although they do them in all the main colors like snow, dust, mud, and all that stuff, and they're great. But you can go in and change the color of it once it's dry. You can do that. Whereas the traditional washes, the same as the Ultimate washes, are designed to be thin and they're water soluble. So if you make a mistake, you just wipe it off.
Apparently, they're not as good on rough matte surfaces. I don't know. I've done it on paint.
That's true.
Is it true? Is it?
Because what you've got to think, if you've got a satin or a matte surface or finish, there is, although we might not be able to see it to the eye, there is a texture.
Yeah.
So what a clay-based wash will do, almost same as an enamel wash, well, any wash really, it will start to stain and it will start to attach itself to that microscopic texture that we can't necessarily see with the naked eye, and then it makes removal a lot more difficult. It has its benefits. If you're trying to create stained paintwork and that sort of stuff, you can do it with practice. But if you've got clean gloss surface, so on the wing of an aircraft, for example, and shameless plug, but if you go to my channel and look at the Tamiya F4U build, I show it on there. I show how good it is.
Yeah.
If your paint's smooth enough and your finish is smooth enough and you put that wash over the top and you can like slap it on, you could put it on with a roller. It doesn't matter. When you come to remove it, what it will do is when it's dry, it will stay in the panel lines of a wing or an aircraft. Because as you wipe it off the flat surfaces,
yeah,
you won't wipe out the panel lines, so you'll get that demarcation. Really, really quite straightforward to do.
Yeah.
But if you're on a matte or a satin finish, then it will start to stain and it will start to adhere to the larger panels.
So one of the techniques I use if I don't use Floyd washes, but using like clay powders, is hairspray, and also you can use hairspray for chipping as well. You get the cheapest one with the less smelliest one, or the smelliest one. Just spray on it, and then I use that, and that gives it a bit of an adherence to put in the pastels and stuff. That's why I don't tend to when I've done an armor, when I spray it matte, I don't tend to put a wash on. I put a varnish on it first. I rather, because I'm using pastels and stuff, I rather just get in all the ingrained of that, and then put a satin on top.
I think it is all test and adjust, and a paint mule is such a great tool to have in your arsenal, because before you commit to your actual model, you can decide on which technique you want to use, what effect you're going for, and you can practice until you're confident that you know what you're doing is going to go well. Because, for example, with pigments, powders, generally, if you put any sort of clear coat over the top of that pigment, it's going to change. Going to change the effect of the pigment. But if you practice that on a paint mule beforehand, you understand what change will occur, and you're either happy with it or you're not.
You
know, and so it's so important to practice. So important.
Yeah, I agree. Locks and I, those paint markers are useful for adding weathering effects on the same color paint. Those paint markers, I think that's one of the game changers of 2024, isn't it? 2025. Who's used them yet? Because I've used them just to do little parts and stuff. So getting out, getting a tub of Umbro out or something, and getting a brush, just don't, and then dab it in, close it. Jobs are fucking good in. Love it.
I think what they have done, though, that's to upset the internet. I think what they have done is they've reinvented the wheel. Because prior to AK releasing their paint markers, and now Display do theirs, and Gallery do theirs, and various other manufacturers, for a long time, acrylic marker pens were a thing. However, what they have done is used the same as they've done with their range of like Abtai Lung, and oil paints have been around since the day dot, haven't they? But what they have done is they've made specific colors that are perhaps more suited to what we do than maybe a traditional oil paint artist. The colors are more specific. And AK have done exactly the same. They've done exactly the same with their paint markers. But paint markers have been around for a long time. You look at likes of Phil Flory, he was using paint markers 10 years ago.
Was it pocket pens though? It was pocket pens he was using, wasn't it?
To do switches in cockpits and all that sort of stuff.
But a pocket pen isn't a brush like those AK markers. There's definitely a difference in them. So I've got them here, and if you look, they're not. If you look at these, the Posca pens.
It's a nib.
They're very, very thin.
Yeah.
Okay. They're good. Don't get me wrong. They're good. I've used them. Then when you get the AK one, because this is the one I've been using for that build. Look at the difference in the thickness. More, and it's more, and it's better coverage with these than the Posca pens. Have I got a bit of paper here?
Yeah, and they were initially designed, not the AK ones, but initially designed for wargamers.
Yeah.
So that they could essentially colour in their tabletop gaming pieces and get them on the table quicker than if they were using traditional painting methods. And they all have their place. Now, to me, to do a cockpit with an AK paint marker, it's too thick. It doesn't allow me to pick out that specific detail, whereas a pocket pen would, because it's so much thinner.
Yeah.
So that horses for courses, but those paint markers are great, for example, for doing things like road wheels on a tank.
Yeah.
They're brilliant. There's no question. But it's all about choosing the right tool for the right job, isn't
it? Yeah, that's it. I didn't know that about Posca pens come with different size tips. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but also Posca pens are what I would call colours of the rainbow, whereas AK colour of camouflage. You know, you've got one there which is the Russian cockpit colour. You've got AK need to now develop another 60 odd different colours, have a range of English, Russian, German, American, Spanish. You know, I love them. I've been using them a lot. You know, I did my engine using the RLM02. And the best thing is it matches their normal colour as well in their pots. And it isn't that far off the Mr. Colour RLM02 as well, which I've been using on this. So, but I'm a Luke, what works for you, don't be brand focused all the time. I wouldn't say I was brand focused. I think the problem is that we become brand focused because we tend to use brands. It's like I'm pretty sure that those paint markers were Tamiya. You know, I've seen Jonathan Mock use Tamiya marker pens, but those colours match the Tamiya LP range, if you know what I mean. So I think we do become brand aware like that. But I've used the Posca pens. I've used the AK pencils. I've got their new ones that come in a tin. Where are they to? Is it down here somewhere? I've got them.
Bandai panel line markers. There you go.
Is it Bandai panel line markers? Is it?
Gundam. Yeah.
Gundam. Yeah. So
Gundam panel line markers great for aircraft.
Yeah, I get that.
Panel lines, funnily enough.
But yeah, anyone got any questions? Put them through. Just going to quickly add: did anybody see that Airfix have announced the Bulldog again? Re-released it.
148 scale.
Yeah, and it looks like the first scheme is the one that what's his name again? Bader, you know, one with no legs, crashed and lost his legs in. They've done that.
Douglas Bader.
Well. That's him, Douglas Bader. They've released it with that scheme, the one that he was in a display and cracked the caught his wing on the grass, didn't he, or something, and flipped him over and crashed.
He was showing off, wasn't he?
Showing off.
He was showing off to pilots who thought he was too old.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, I get that, Adam. Don't worry about it. No, I'm just saying we become brand loyal. I think we do become brand loyal. But yeah, Douglas Bader, that'd be a good one if anybody's seen that up for grabs. They want to go and buy it. It's on the Airfix. Well, I said to Dale I'll mention it tonight, and I have done. So there you go. If you want to go and build another Bulldog. Any other questions? Let me know in the comments, and we'll try and answer them about weathering. But I think at the end, the actual question's been answered. I think weathering is important to scale modelling, and the more you do it, the better you become at it. And using the right tools, using the right paints, and knowing when to stop. I think that was quite predominant in that from Luke. You know, knowing not to go too far. CCC. I used Nigel's trick of going around the edges of clear parts with a Sharpie. Now I use the AK rubber black pen. Yeah, I think that's a good little tip. That if you're going to go and put your glass in, I'm still testing the glue. Actually, I think I've found the perfect glue for fixing canopies to plastic, and it doesn't fog up the canopies. Pardon?
What do you reckon it is?
I think I found it.
What is it?
Do you want to see?
Yeah.
Because I use a technique and I've never had any issues. Almost
okay, what's that then?
Video's coming out soon.
Watch this space.
See, I think my perfect glue for clear parts is, it's not designed for clear parts, but it's brilliant. It's this stuff.
Yes, I've got a bottle of that.
Really good, and applied with where is it? This. You probably can barely see.
Yeah, hang on, let me get you bigger. Oh, you're using a needle, are you?
No, that comes with it.
That comes with it.
There's an applicator, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've never used it. Do you use it on the photo etch as well?
Yeah, you can use it on photo etch, clear parts. It dries perfectly clear.
Yeah,
it's like a really good quality PVA. That's how I would describe it.
I think that BT 1000, that 700, that B7000 could be the answer. Yeah, Zinzan, you use that, do you? Fog up.
Never had a problem. Never had a problem.
But you got to let it gas off first.
Hey?
Ordinary everyday super glue.
I use polystyrene cement.
Never had a fogging issue with CA glue.
Let it go off for 10 to 15 seconds. Apply the glass piece.
Right.
Let it gas off.
Never had a problem with it.
Never
I did years ago. But other than that, Loctite super glue. Comes with the brush.
Isn't it the vapor that causes the fogging as the glue's going off?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You let it gas off.
Once it stops smelling, there's no vapor to fog up your plastic.
Right.
Oh.
There is with that stuff.
Yeah.
Don't try and solder your clear parts.
Well, the thing is, though, is that I've seen people put that cement around the edge of the cockpit, and they call it let it gas off.
Yeah.
And so when you let it gas off, it's melted the plastic just enough for put your canopy on then, and it won't.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Because once it's gassed off, there's no vapor, is it?
No.
Yeah, that's it. But so if you haven't got it, you'd be laughing, really. As I said, I think that B7000 is the answer. I'll tell you a little something, right? I love my. I'm doing them this week actually. Now, here's a little. So I'm going to do a video on this as well because I think it's really interesting. You get these bloody clips, don't you? These clips, right? And they've got like that hard rubber plastic thing, and all it ever does is slip off your fuselage, don't they?
Yeah.
So what I used to do is get some 220 grit sandpaper and glue it on with super glue. But what happens is the super glue is very brittle. So the sandpaper used to just basically peel off or just detaches itself from here. But what I've been using is that B7000 and leaving it overnight, and then cut around it ready. And these now you can put. I've just on my finger on the edge. Look at that; it just pinches because you've got the friction of the sandpaper. And this is what I've been doing this week. I've been actually going through all these clips. Now I've found this glue, which is used by die casters, by the way, because what they do is when they restore their die cast, they rip out the glass inside like this. So this is what I'm been preparing to do. And what they do is they rip out the glass inside, with where the rivet was that will hold it in position. And what they do now, they use BT7000 to glue the glass back in, and the glue doesn't fog up, and that glass does not move against metal. It's incredibly good stuff. And jewelers have been using it for years. Don't be distracted by the crap English translation on the side of it, because it's a Chinese product. Because it's bizarre, some of the things that it's the best ever glue ever, blah blah blah, you know. But I bought some. I've even bought little packs of it as well now. I bought a load of, because I'm just finding it useful in gluing things together. It doesn't set quite quick. Comes with a really good. I'll put it on big. Smells gorgeous as well, by the way, and I love smells.
Smelling glue.
Comes with that. So when you put that in, it never blocks up.
All right.
It never blocks up. Brilliant stuff. So GSE Bond B7000 acrylic diamond glue is one of special EP glue to applicate for toy, jewellery, handicrafts and other industries. Compared with other glues, bottom wear resistance, stock long time. So you can see that that's what they, yeah, stock long time. And it's good for metal, glass, ceramic, stone, bamboo, wood, leather, PE, PVC, paper. It have good stick performance. This is what it says on it, right? You think it's, but it's very, very good. I'm using it for a long, but you've got to leave it. It says here it will kind of attach within 15-20 minutes, but to leave it alone 24-48 hours, and it works an absolute treat, and it gives you a little bit of give as well. But that's the glue that I'm and I got it off Temu because it was the only place I could buy it from. You can't really buy it anywhere else.
Do
Yeah.
you think that stuff will glue painted plastic to painted plastic?
Yeah,
Well, nothing will. Nothing will. Nothing will. Because you're only adhering to plastic onto paint. And what's going to give? The paint's going to give, isn't it? You know, the only benefit of cement that we use is the fact it melts the paint and the plastic at the same time, doesn't it? You know, but it's like, you know, you see there's no more nails and they put the shelf up. What have they done? They've just put it directly onto the paint.
Yeah.
So when they put a bit of weight on it, it rips the paint off. If you just glued it directly into the plaster, it'll work. If you direct it, you're just gluing it to a skin. So there's no paint. There's no glue that really works paint to paint. But yeah, it's called B7000. I think this is the answer to everybody's cockpit nightmares. I've done what I'm just not jumping my gun because I've done one and it didn't fog up, and I've left it and the canopy is pretty strong on there. So I'm thinking that, but they call it gravity. Some of the wording on here, it is like a Chinese copy, but you know, it's there. Gravity. Oh, come on, focus, you bugger. Come on, focus. I'll focus in a minute. If I do that,
let away a little bit.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to get the focus now. Hang on. Come on, focus.
Trying to there.
Yeah, there we go. Come on, focus.
There we go.
Gravity magic rubber.
Gravity magic rubber.
There you go. Anti-vibration. Stimulate that taste-free. It's weird. It's so weird, this glue. And then you look on the back of it, like I'm saying, you know, it have good stick performance. But yeah, it's this is what I've got. Maybe it cause eye. It's the way it says it. Maybe it cause eye and skin irritation. You know what I mean? It's proper. It's been Google translated from 1986 or something. It says, "Keep away from children. Stay away from fire." You know what I mean? It's just, it's a funny glue, but
good advice for life in general.
I think this stuff will do PE and canopy glass, and I don't think it will fog it up. I think it'll do a really good bond as well. But that's something I'm looking into. But yeah, there seems to be a T7000 version of Gucci. I've got that as well. I've never used it, but like I said, I've been buying. If I see it for sale anywhere, I will. I'll pick pick it up. Yeah, BT7000. I don't know what the T stands for. Whether it's translucent, I don't know. But yeah, what's that one there? Is that there? Yeah, T8000 is the other one I've got as well. It's another one. But this one is supposed to be the best-selling Europe and American Mad Fans around the world. It says Mad Fans around the world. But this one is it's another adhesive. It's a semi-floating body. So basically, it makes it rise. I think. So yeah, I don't know, but surface drying time 3 minutes, cure time 48. But I will let me leave it. I'm looking into it now, so I'm doing testing on it. So I think that's the glue of the future. That one. So
I think the letter T in front of a number moss means it's a Terminator.
I don't know. What does B mean? Barbie? Yeah.
So
That's used by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
T6000 model. Comes in the shape of a tube of glue.
Isn't that a high quality rubber cement? I believe it is.
Probably is.
But it's a real high tack to it. So I'm thinking that it will be really good on canopies where, it's not like cement with like with super glue. It fractures, doesn't it? It becomes very brittle. Where this is useful for rubber band tracks. It might be. I don't know. I've not tried it on it.
It might be good for the vinyl pipes on motorcycle kits and cars. It might be good for that as well.
Yeah. But as I said, I'm just trying it out to see. I'm just I'm just trying to I'm just trying it out, see if it works. Ammo Ultra Glue is what I like to use on Clear Photo Etch. I think it's Jim who uses that, doesn't he? And then he covers it every time, doesn't he? He does 2 or 3 coats with the stuff, if I remember rightly, to make it stand. Good for tank fenders made of PE. It's on Amazon now. Glue everything long time. Yeah. But yeah, just try it and see. It may work. Where was that question from? Did I use that question? Okay, Emma. Hi guys. What would you do if you had an airliner or aerobatic display aircraft where the operator's reputation hangs on it looking really clean?
Build it clean.
Build it clean. Coat it in gloss varnish.
It just means that when you bugger up, you can't hide it under chunks of weathering. But it's
so if you look at the Black Rifle channel, Emma, the last build on there was one of the last builds was the Red Arrows Hawk, which is obviously clean. And then coming in the early part of next year will be my first airliner. So we'll see.
Don't put that on the channel. That's it now. That we're going to be demonetized now.
Apparently, Zvezda are the Tamiya of airliner kits. So
Revell, where we box in a lot of Zvezda airliner kits.
Yeah.
But if you buy a true Revell kit, not a Reebok, a true Revell kit, there's no windows.
No.
But in Zvezda, they give you the windows.
Yeah.
It's like Airfix used to do years ago.
So we'll see. We'll see how I get on with that. So watch that video, Emma, and you'll see how I decide to do it or not.
I wonder if they'll have a transfer punch as a part in that kit, Luke.
I've got
the Airfix kits used to give you a transfer punch when you put the transfer over the top.
Yeah, so in the airliner world, generally what they do is they fill the gaps of the windows, and then they sand it so it's smooth, and then they use decals to put the windows on.
Yeah.
The Zvezda kit actually gives you the clear parts for the windows.
Okay.
So that's what I'll be using. And then the decals, I've got aftermarket anyway, because I'm going to do it in a Norwegian Airlines scheme, because it's a bit more interesting. It's got like a red front of the aircraft, and the tail's got like a portrait on it. So.
I'd like to see that when it's done, Luke.
Well, yeah, you can watch me fuck it up on the internet.
Go not to video.
Ghost Squadron models. Many a person has said a plane captain lose his job if his plane was weathered as most modern jets are in scale. LOL. I just, mate, just go out there and see the pictures. There. You look at the pictures. And I think it was Jim who said that, even the fact that, I can't remember which is the one when the wings, they go in and they come out the body at the side. What's it? It left grease marks, didn't it? Left grease marks where the wings were
always
yeah. So
I think you have to, whether it be armor or aircraft, you always have to create a line of distinction between sort of World War II, early post-war, the way that paint and things weathered then to the way modern paint weathers is very, very different. So, for example, on a piece of armor, World War II armor, you'll see a lot of chipping and that sort of stuff. You do not see that on modern armor.
No.
Do not see it because the paint is such better quality now. But what you will see, if you think that modern jets don't weather, go and look at Hellenic jets. Go and look at a Hellenic F-16. Go and look at a Hellenic Phantom and see how weathered they are because of the environments they operate in.
They're the last people to use the Phantom now, aren't they? The Hellenic Air Force.
Yeah, did the Israelis not still use them?
I don't think they have any anymore, no.
No, they don't have the Phantom 2 anymore.
Not anymore, no. I'm sure the Hellenic Air Force are the last Air Force.
They were flying them up until the early 2000s, weren't they, the Israelis?
Yeah, the Israelis were flying them against, MiG-23s mainly.
They do weather very differently, but you see all the no crew chief would ever. Okay, go and look at pictures of the real aircraft on board an aircraft carrier.
There's a couple of pictures I could show of the side of a Spitfire Mark 9 that I took at Duxford, which show the degree of subtlety required when you're adding in, for example, exhaust stub markings and exhaust marking on these things. And from a distance, unless you're really looking for it, you just won't see it. It's just not possible to see. I don't know whether I can show it to you. I possibly can't actually, but we'll have a crack at it and see if I can. Let's try that one.
You've done it?
Oh, I don't like it. That's all right. It's an invalid file type for the thing. I can't show it to you. It's a secret. I can tell you. I've now got to kill you. The subtlety required with exhaust markings and things of this like wear of this kind is really important. It's barely bloody noticeable. And then if you look underneath, if you look at your point about modern paints is also valid, but the cleaning of these things, even with cleaning, you can add little subtle bits of weathering in underneath an aircraft, and it won't notice from an arm's length. But if you look at it more closely, then you'll see it. And again, I mean, on the underbody air intake on this Spit Mark 9, you can see track marks, from liquid flying along and things of this kind.
I think I can share maybe this image talking about Hellenic modern aircraft that don't weather, because someone will get in trouble. Bear with me a second. Let's see if I can do it, because I think you have to add to the screen, don't you, Miles, or something now?
Yeah, present or invite, and then add screen.
Okay, let me try and present, and I will try and share this.
I've got one to show as well that Adam Scale Modelling sent me as well, which I thought was quite interesting.
Okay, so if you add that to the stream, Miles, that's a Hellenic Air Force F-16.
Yeah, wow.
That is a real aircraft.
That's quite clean for a Greek Air Force aircraft. Have you seen some of their Corsair 2s?
Yeah. So yeah, so someone would be in trouble if they see that flying. Yeah, whatever. But you can see how weathered it is if you look at the insignia that's clean. If you look at the missile on the wing, clean.
Yeah.
It's funny. The markings are the only part of that plane that look clean.
There you go.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow. I'll add this one to the stage as well then. I've got to remove that one, have I? How can I remove it? Remove. There's that one there as well.
Yeah.
You see how dirty it is on the back?
Yeah. Behind the canopy, it's almost rusty.
Yeah.
That's where
it appears rusty. It won't be rusty, but it appears rusty.
Whoops, zoom in. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Incredible, isn't it?
Isn't that just forward of the forward vent?
Oh,
this is a mark. It's not the vertical takeoff one. You can see
Not.
the hold back. Yeah, you can see this is one that's going onto a catapult. You can see the hold back on the front. On the front undercarriage.
Be riveted, isn't it?
That's a C. Yeah, F-35C.
That'd be a nice job for Sully, wouldn't it? Matthew,
I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. Look at the state of the guys on the right hand side. They've been properly weathered, haven't they? Look at them.
mind you, the undercarriage leg is spotless, isn't it?
A little bit of rust there.
Well, apart from a bit of grubbing down the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah.
The wheel looks a bit oily and all.
Yeah. But even the blokes look dirty, don't they? They're dirtier than the plane.
I don't know. They look clean.
Don't tell Jim, but they're American, aren't they?
What was it Zinzan said? Cavalier attitude to hygiene?
Cavalier attitude. Is that what he said?
I'm just look at the
They're
front.
a very clean bunch, American ship people. I'll have you know.
Are they? Well, they're not very far away from an early bath, are they?
Well, maybe so, but
Just
they've been
walk off the
working
end.
jolly hard, bless them.
Well,
You
you
see
wave
the
a
front
plane on and then give it a score.
Just look at the front of the canopy there. Look at that. Can you see like the difference in the colour?
Yeah, there is.
Now, if you did that on a model and put it in a model show, those judges would be like, "Oh, that's a crap paint job on that, isn't it?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I think it depends though, Muzz. It depends how you did it.
Yeah.
If it's done well, then you pull it off, you get away with it. But if it's done haphazardly, not very well, then and that would be a very difficult thing to replicate in say 48, 70 seconds. It would be very difficult to replicate that. But if it's done well, then and there are people out there that can do it. You look at likes of Will Patterson and the weathering he does. And if it's done well, but he will spend like 3 months weathering a panel. So again, it's that patience. What are you going for? You know?
Yeah. I'm trying to work out what is that on the back of that though? On the top of the
Dirty
water,
water, I would imagine.
Where's it
What's
come
left
from?
of a seagull?
Do you think it could be sea spray?
Yeah.
Why would it be localized to the back of the canopy though?
You know,
It's weird, isn't it?
It is weird, isn't it?
Also, if you pull the image back so you can see the nose cone there, Moss, the nose section of that aircraft is spotless.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Is
where
it
the
different
radar?
material though?
Yeah, why is that?
But even the air intakes are clean as well.
Yeah, they're clean.
And that's what I was trying to say earlier. That what they're concerned about, if that's an operational aircraft,
Yeah.
they're not really concerned that behind the canopy those air intakes are dirty, or the bit that covers the radar that needs to be clean, or the legs are really dirty and they can't spot the leaks and all the rest of it. That's what they're interested in. They're not really that interested in how dirty the irrelevant panel is.
Well, it says when
You
it
know,
says no step to it, it looks like they've just covered that in duct tape just to stick it back down again. You know what I mean? Seriously.
yeah.
Can I go bigger with this? Or if I can go bigger, hang on. Can I go bigger? No, I go bigger that way. No, it's not letting me go bigger, I'm afraid. That's just the best it will go. But no, it's like duct tape to me, that round tape. Are you up to the disco, are you, mate? But yeah, so there you are. Brilliant. So what is weathering? Weathering is objective, definitely.
Of course it is.
Definitely.
And I think it definitely comes down to it, and it's been mentioned throughout, really. Check your references.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because depending on the effect you're going for, will depend on firstly what references you look at.
Yeah.
And what the overall finish that you can envisage. But that's a skill in itself, as soon as I was saying, you need to develop that area of your brain that enables you to have that foresight. So when you open a box full of plastic, to have that foresight of how you want that to look, and what can help you achieve that is reference photographs.
Yeah.
Because you can then envisage, like you look at that F-16, for example, how would I achieve that on a wing? How would I do that? And you start thinking about it. How would I achieve that dirty bit behind the canopy on an F-35? How would I do that? And you start thinking, and the more you think, and then you practice on your paint mule or whatever, and then all of a sudden it all starts to come together, and you have this kind of vision almost of what you're going to do and how you're going to do it and what it's going to look like.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, some people, you put that on a table at a show, an F-16 like that, a lot of people are going to go, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's
they
not
are. However, you get people like myself, for example. Sully is a classic. You look at it and go, that's awesome. I really like what you've done with it. You know, it's so again, it's subjective. I actually like my aircraft quite clean.
Yeah.
I don't like them weathered to buggery as a rule. I don't. Whereas armor, I will weather that until the cows come home. But aircraft, I do like them quite clean.
That's same here. You know, dirty armor, clean aircraft.
I'm just about to build my first motorbike kit, and that will be spotless, clean.
Something that was
you'd enjoy doing the. Has it got carbon on it?
No, I'll show you. It's a very unusual motorbike, but I got it for a bargain price, brand new. That one.
Oh, the Dax!
The Tamiya special edition,
Yeah, we've all built that one, mate. You'll be really.
So I'm gonna have a go at that, and that will be spotless and shiny and all that stuff. The Trabant I'm gonna build will be clean, because I think automotive models, my personal preference is clean, shiny, whereas other people will weather a rally car.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's just completed a stage, and there's a skill to that as well. You know.
Yeah, most definitely.
F1 cars clean as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're not when they finish the race.
Yeah.
Or smacked into a wall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a different kind of weathering, isn't it?
The Airfix 7 lifeboat on my bench, no weathering. Yeah.
Could I ask why, Robbie?
Yeah, why?
Because by their very nature, maritime subjects are probably one of the most heavily weathered subjects in real life, because they're in the water, and the water is, you know, it just lends itself to weathering.
But the lifeboat isn't.
It will be underneath.
What I mean, a lot of the lifeboats are in with the new ones. They're all in their own garage. They get pulled up by a machine and put away in the garage.
They still go in the water.
Yeah, but they're not in the. They clean it. When I went, this is one of the things that got me. When I went to the Exmouth one, and that's one of the first, because that's number 3. That's one of the first with the black bottom. It was immaculate. You see me next to it. Honestly, it's immaculate.
Yeah,
They
I'm sure it
clean it.
is. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that most 7 class lifeboats aren't in garages.
7 class isn't now. I think they're all gone now, mate.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. He said he's building the 7 class, not the
Oh, is
Shannon.
he? Oh, 7 class. Oh, it's
Yeah.
right.
Well, some-
Hang on, where's that window? I need to lick it.
Peanuts, boss.
So
Sorry,
it's interesting, like when Sully did he do the Vosper? Was it the Vosper Sully
The
did?
Vosper, yeah.
And he put the barnacles on the hull.
Mm.
Bloody
Like,
hell.
because they would be there, wouldn't they? If it's in the water, they're going to be there, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like when I built my Shannon, I didn't. Are they though, Robbie, underneath? It's personal.
They are pretty good. They used to get them out the water, you know, and repaint them and everything. I don't know. It depends, isn't it? Really, what you're going to do with it. You know what I mean? It's.
I didn't really weather my Shannon for that reason.
No,
because they're so well maintained.
yeah.
Even though I put it in water and stuff, the actual top, the cab, if you like, and the deck, they're clean to within an inch of their life on a regular basis.
I would love to buy one of those 7 class lifeboats to live
What,
in.
a real one?
A real one, yeah.
What are you going to do with that?
I would love to. If you've seen what's inside, they're amazing.
You
can
got
fill that up. I would love to. I'd love to. They're off for sale. You can pick them up for about 400,000, I think, or something.
Oh well, I'll get 2.
You imagine you will have a boat that's been so highly maintained.
Yeah.
You won't have to do anything to them. They'll kit it out with somewhere to.
Here's the other thing though, because people think that. So a lot of people. So depending on which ambulance trust it is in the country, most trusts won't keep a vehicle for more than 3 years. So they get them brand new. They kit them out and stuff, and then at the 3-year point, regardless of mileage, they will sell that vehicle via auction. Yeah. And a lot of people buy them because all the electric. If you're going to turn it into like a camper van.
Yeah.
All the electric circuits and everything are already done. Obviously, there's cupboard space, blah, 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 blah. Now, a lot of people are under the misconception that these things are well maintained. And yes, they are. They're serviced like every 6 weeks as a matter of course. Like mechanically, they are as good as they can be. However, what people don't factor in is when they look at the mileage. Now, most of them will be high mileage, but they're serviced and maintained. However, what about the idle time?
Yeah.
Because that engine is running pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but that doesn't show on the mileage.
No.
Yeah. Sorry, it wasn't the 7 I was looking at. It was the Aaron class I was looking at. Not the...
You want to buy an Aaron class lifeboat?
Yeah, I want to buy an Aaron class lifeboat. Do you think I'm taking the piss? But I would
buy
one.
Get a pipe and a calf like Uncle Albert.
I'm sure I read somewhere that if you buy a boat of any kind, that you ought to budget something like 20% of the bottom. In other words, the value of the thing, of what you paid for it each year in maintenance. And I rather suspect that people who live in canal boats probably don't think they have to maintain them as often, you know, even given they live in a moist atmosphere, shall we say. Because almost every canal boat I've ever walked by where someone lives in it, it looks like a bag of shite, quite honestly. You know, they look awful. You know, and sorry if you live in if you're out there in modelling land and you live in a canal boat, I'm awfully sorry, but they don't look good because they're probably not looked after all that well, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think Moreton Bay's hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, the hulls and everything are pristine. However, there'll still be a lot of weathering in the sort of intakes and all, because it's salt water, isn't it? It's corrosive by its very nature.
Yeah.
Here you go. There's one for sale. The Aaron class lifeboat. Lifeboat.
Is that?
£54,000.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah, I think 54,000. It's come up 54.
I mean, when you think I've set myself a budget of 10,000 for a Trabant, that's pretty good. Like 5 Trabants, but you've got a lifeboat.
Here you go. So now it's very unique. Obviously, an XR and air lifeboat, the Irish Mist, was involved in a collision with a ferry, which failed to stop and collided with her. Her engine bay left intact. She did, however, suffer minor damage, superstructure whatsoever. After inspection, the RNLI deemed it unnecessary to repair her, and it was that time we were switching from the Aaron class to the 7 class. Blah, 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 blah. So it was repaired and everything. It's got 2 Detroit engines, which have had 5,000 hours on them. But the length was 15 meters in length. But you look at the pictures. The galley's got a fridge with 2 microwaves, a kettle. It's got a fridge. It's got 17 life jackets, probably out of date detectors.
Which you'll probably need.
But I would buy one of these. Just look at the gorgeous. I was looking at them and I was thinking I'd like to buy one of these. But I would
not much use to me in Shropshire.
I was going to say, any time you want to, when you want to go out to sea and you've got 54 grand floating around, you don't want to do very much with, and you want to take 16 of your best friends alongside yourself, then this might be the very thing to do.
I'm just saying, I would love to buy one.
On Discovery Plus, they do like a series, a documentary series where they look around these like super yachts and things. And these things are millions and millions and millions of pounds, but they're amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm not endorsing him before anyone loses their mind. But has anyone seen the boat that Andrew Tate is having built?
No.
He's had it built in the style of like a warship. It is a super yacht, essentially. It's luxury beyond comparison, really. But if you look at it, and it's not finished yet, but if you look at it, it looks like a warship.
Yeah.
It's all like grey. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
That surprises me because I would have thought that Andrew Tate would have a ship built in the shape of a large penis.
Dick compensator.
Do you know I am more shocked. I do a lot of gigging and stuff, and I remember sitting down about 2 months ago, and there was a group of about 30 women talking, and they all had great things to say about Andrew Tate. I couldn't believe it. They honestly, I don't go there. I couldn't believe it. Anyway,
Don't go there.
Anyway, there's another one here. Orange glass. In New Zealand, coming mother, $150,000. Buy collects from New Zealand.
You could sail it back, Moz.
Yeah, I could. Do you know what? Apparently, there's enough fuel in one of these to get you. There's 3 islands, isn't there? You can visit on the way to America. But I just thought, what a great thing! Look at that. Imagine being in that while you're going around the coastline of England in one of these. I just think I'm
sure you'd have to do some sort of qualifications to be able to pilot an Aaron class lifeboat.
I know. I would love to buy an old lifeboat and make it into somewhere I can live in. I could have my own Rosie and Jim.
Yeah. We could all go out for a big party on Moss's floating bordello. Yeah, very good.
Hey, he should be rescued by me at least. Yeah, we've got the boat to do it. It's not going to sink.
Absolutely. Yeah. If I'm ever lost at sea, then I shall give you a phone call straight away.
That boat won't sink. That thing could tip upside down and still carry on.
No, the hull is a very, very safe hull. I think it's the Colvick Watson type hull, and they sit low and they're very, very stable.
I would, as I said, I would definitely. I would love if I had the money, I would buy a lifeboat and do it up, and then like I said, they are what they are. It's the safest boat because it ain't going to go. It's not going to sink, is it? Because it's designed not to sink. Then again, so was the Titanic. You know what I mean? So, It's either that or buy that second-hand band bus that's stuck in Bali at the moment. You know what I mean? I can get buy something hard in a bus. I'll go. There's one in Bali. That'll be weathered quite harsh inside, wouldn't it? You know what I mean?
Hopefully, it's got a gloss finish on the seat, so
I
it
was gonna
wipes.
say, yeah. That's a surprise, isn't it? You won't be seeing Bonnie Blue in Bali for a while, will you? You know what I mean? So you can go and pick up that bus for free, I think. Cameras in it and everything, apparently.
I don't know. According to her OnlyFans. No, I'm joking. I'm not.
Oh dear! Just imagine buying that and the smell of femme fresh. Right, I will. GoFundMe required when Moz kidnapped by Somali pirates. I wouldn't need to, mate. I won't be going down that way. I just wanted to go around the coast of the UK. It'll be great, bit of fun. Anyways, right, folks, that's me done for tonight. Thanks so much. Remember, competition. If you want to join the competition, join the Discord group. Link in the comments and in the description, and you can be put into this to win the Hampden. Honestly, so I'm giving it away. Just put the word Hampden in the comments on the Discord. Sorry, so comments in the Discord, and then put also the country you're in. Because I need to work out how I'm going to get it to you, because it might be me cheaper to buy it in your country, and they get shipped to you in that country. And I know they've gone everywhere. Apparently, they're already on their way to America. So how Airfix can't do that, I don't know. So apparently it's on the way there. But if you want to get that, join the Discord and enjoy the Discord group. It's fantastic. It's 400 plus members. We talk about scare modeling, and it's the quickest and the easiest way to contact me via Discord than going through all the emails and everything else. I'm stopping all that now. And that's it. Thanks for joining us this evening, Luke, Zinzan, John, and Barry, and Simon keeps popping in and out. I have to have a word with him because I think it is. You're back again, Simon. Your internet's a bit crap, but anyways, we're going to call it a night. Thanks all for watching, and we'll see you next Monday for our final one of the year. Take care. Bye bye.